Welcome back to our series on multilingual practices. I'm Brooke Heffright from the University of Maryland Center for Advanced Study of Language, or CASL.
And I'm Michelle Morrison, also from CASL. In the previous segment, we started to talk about the multilingual practice we call switching. Remember, switching is a kind of contextualization cue, and contextualization cues are strategies that speakers use to let listeners know which bit of context is the most relevant to the matter at hand.
We looked at excerpts illustrating the way that speakers use switching to convey their attitudes toward what's being talked about and to negotiate with other speakers about who's in charge of the narrative.
Another way that speakers use switching is to organize the flow of information and topics. Let's listen to an example from conversations we recorded among native speakers of Somali with some command of English and Arabic. We've changed the speakers' names. In this excerpt, our speakers are discussing their health and their children.
هو انت خوفت المفعوصة بتاعتي من يومين
الأسبوع اللي فات
بحاجة ماشية في الحيطة ولا عنكبوتة ماشية في الحيطة؟
Let's look at this conversation again and discuss the ways our speakers are using switching. In lines 1 and 2, Ayan finishes a thought in mixed Somali and English to describe the insomnia she's been dealing with. After a brief pause, Ayan starts a new topic with a question about her child. By switching into Arabic and highlighting the contrast between Somali and Arabic, Ayan metaphorically signals the shift between topics.
In other words, Ayan uses the contrast between the two languages to organize the conversation and the flow of topics. Let's listen to another excerpt where switching organizes the flow of information. In the following excerpt, Ayan is retelling an exchange with a customer service representative.
ده ساعتها أظن بيعملوا لك واحد
Free update.
upgrade. أيوة هم سألوني قالوا لي what do you qualify for upgrade with T-Mobile؟ قلت لهم لا عشان T-Mobile ما بيعملوش upgrade لازم تشتريه.
Let's take a closer look. Even though this excerpt only has one speaker, Ayan is using switching to organize her story. In line 2, Ayan sets off the quote from the representative by switching into English. Now, as we mentioned in the previous segment, switching while quoting someone hasn't been found to reliably reproduce the original language. That's probably true here too. In line 3, Ayan quotes herself replying in Arabic, even though the exchange almost certainly occurred in English. In this case, switching serves the more abstract purpose of leveraging the contrast between the languages to metaphorically construct multiple characters in a single narrative.
To sum up, in this segment, we examine the way that multilingual speakers can contextualize their speech by switching to organize the flow of information and topics.
Paying attention to switching can help you to make rational inferences about the social characteristics of a group and to explicitly ground your inferences in language behavior.
In our next segment, we'll talk about a multilingual practice, mixing, that has the potential to provide somewhat different kinds of information about speakers' group affiliation and political stance. Thank you for watching. Again, I'm Michelle Morrison.
And I'm Brooke Heffright. See you next time.